Hello everyone, I'm back with an Alvarez Metalworks video. um, Today we had kind of a break in the weather, and because we're all stuck at home with this coronavirus stuff, I had a chance to get out into the shop, pull everything out of there that I could get out of there easily, start sweeping up, do a little bit of reorganizing and planning to make the space necessary for me to finish a few projects. While I was out there, I pulled the forklift out that I acquired last year, and I decided I was going to get some video footage of the Pathfinder dropping to the earth. So basically, here's what I'm talking about. When I finished Project Pathfinder, and I never finished it, okay? When I left my old house and brought it to my new house, it was acceptable to run, and I could get out and four-wheel it and, wheel it and whatever. And I've done that, but it's never been quite right. The shocks, the valving on it is way off. When I ordered my shocks, I way overestimated the sprung weight on the truck. And, as a result, I had to do a lot of fiddling with the springs to get springs in the mounting location on the truck of the shocks to get things kind of balanced out and working properly. And my springs are fine, but my shock valving is way off now. So this video was essentially a test. I already knew it was off, but this video shows me how far it is off, at least in the back end of the truck. So I'm going to be using my forklift, picking it up and literally dropping the truck. Okay. Pulling the forklift out of underneath it, not just lowering it down, so it comes to the ground like it would if it jumped. So the purpose behind that is it will allow me to go into the video and freeze frame and look at how much the truck is compressing and how much it's rebounding. Okay, compression is obviously, as it's landing, it's compressing the shock. Rebound is how fast it's allowing it to stretch back out to ride height. Okay, so let's get in here and take a look at this video. Okay, so I'm getting ready to put a brick over here in front of the tire or behind the tire. I'm doing that to act as a wheel chock, because the truck's in gear, but with the ass end up in the air, obviously it could just roll around. And the forklift is literally under the rear bumper of the truck, and I'm going to reposition the fork so they're kind of pointed down a little bit, and then I'm just going to pull the forklift out of underneath it and just let it drop. Now what we're looking for here is, let me pause it. We're going to use the rock slider as a reference point. So we're looking to try to find out where it drops, the lowest part, using the lugs on the tire for reference point. And when it comes back up, what that difference is between rock bottom and ride height. Okay. I can tell you right now, it's not much. So let's keep watching. So I'm trying to make sure I'm being safe here. So let's back this up. We'll try to pause this right on impact. Okay, so I can tell that it's not quite full compression because the tire's expanded. But just by watching it super closely, I can tell that it just barely came past this lug. And when I unpause it, rest height is just barely above that. We're talking about an inch, maybe. Inch to 2 inches of compression from ride height is horrible. Okay. Like I said, I've got at least 5 inches of up travel at ride height. And from ride height, I got 5 inches of up travel. And I should have been, off of a drop like that, I should have been really close to touching the bump stops. So, if I got to break in, if I get a break in weather here before the weekend, I'm definitely going to try this again. I'm going to raise it up significantly higher and do it again and record it. And, probably won't make a video on that one, but it'll be used in the video I do for the shock valving. So let's do something here real quick. We're up in the air. Yeah, that was full compression. And if you look, it was just barely below the lug. It's probably got about inch and a half of compression, to be honest with you, from ride height. And that's not good. I should have been much closer to the bump stops after a hit like that. So now I don't, off of however many inches that was up in the air, I don't want it to completely bottom out the suspension, because the truth of the matter is if I ever decide to run this at high speeds and let's say I smash into a ditch or something like that, there's a possibility that the suspension will take a harder shot than it would if it just dropped like that. Now, I'm going to come back and raise this up much higher and drop it, and that'll help to give me a better idea of where I'm at as far as like wanting to max out my suspension. When you're jumping a vehicle, chances are you're going to land on the front tires first. So it's kind of this situation. When I do the front, it's not going to really be accurate because, like I said, envision jumping a vehicle. Almost always the front end comes down first. If I raise the front end with the forklift and just drop it, the amount of weight and pressure that's going to be on the front end is not going to be accurate because it's not going to have the whole vehicle in the air diving down onto the front. So when I do the front, I have to keep that into consideration. So I'm not going to want to valve it in the same way and use the same reference points as I am with the rear. But the rear, it's okay for me to lift it up and drop it because, like I said, the front's going to come down. The rear's typically going to come down second. So it's a lot more accurate in this respect. So, the valving, for those of you that don't understand it, compression versus rebound. Rebound is that extension of shock travel after it's been compressed, how quickly it allows it to extend. So you guys have probably seen like razors and side by sides in general jumping, and it always seems like the ass end bucks up on them, and it does quite often. And that's not because it's a design flaw in the unit or the suspension. It's a setup issue. Okay, the people that are running these things are not valving the suspension for what it is that they're doing. When it bucks like that, it's because the rebound is set wrong. They need to adjust the rebound so that it doesn't want to spring up on them. Okay, it means more valving to make that spring up be limited so it doesn't happen nearly as fast. So for me, here's my issue. Down the road, I've got some railroad tracks. And when I go over those railroad tracks with the current setup and I hit those, you see that I have very little suspension travel. And it's like super harsh. Okay. It's not, I've had people ride in this thing and I've had them go over these railroad tracks with me and they're super impressed with it. But it's nowhere near the capability of this. I should float across those things like nothing. I have 12 inches of wheel travel. It should go across all these bumps on the road smoother than my car ever could imagine. And it doesn't. So, just keep that in mind. When you're dealing with your valving, everything is subject to what it is that you're using the vehicle for. So, if you're doing a lot of rock crawling, slow go rock crawling, no throttle down type stuff, your range of what's acceptable becomes super broad. Okay, if you're doing high speed anything, where the suspension is taking hard jolts, your range becomes very narrow. If you're competing, it's even narrower because now you're trying to edge out the next person with suspension, setups. So when you see like those off-road vehicles like trophy trucks or pre-runners or whatever, and they're running on the side of a highway and somebody's chasing them with a camera and this thing's just going through the whoops like butter, those aren't always just to show off videos. Those are suspension testing videos. They're doing it because they're going to go back and watch it. They're going to see, okay, is my rebound good? Is my compression good? Am I losing contact with the ground? Where I'm losing contact? How is this thing handling? Is it kind of shifting and getting squirrely on me? And they're going to fine tune that valving to make that perfect. Okay. But again, it depends on the application. So if I'm running down the road and I'm just a daily driver, maybe I don't want it to be as soft as I would, maybe I don't want it to be valved in a way where I can jump it. Maybe I just want it to run smooth like a cloud. That's all fine and dandy, but just understand that if it's too soft and you do jump it, you're going to crash down on your bump stops and you're going to start tearing shit up. It's not good. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something with this. Like I said, I will put out a video showing you guys the process of revalving these shocks. I'm not an expert on it. I'm going to be learning as I go. And hopefully you guys learn something as well. This is all weather dependent and all coronavirus dependent. I have all the stuff. I believe I have all the stuff to do it. But if I get into it and I've got my shocks torn apart in the shop, and I don't have enough shock oil, that's a concern for me. So, we'll figure it out. I've got a lot of time on my hands, unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, but we'll get it done and I'll get that video out for you guys. And I do have some project videos coming. I'm straightening out my shop right now, and yeah, more Alvarez Metalworks to come. So talk to you guys later.